So here's another variation of weaving. This is my example for you of this really kind of free form structure of a modified kind of basket weaving. And it's made by first taking a balloon, got a yellow balloon here, and you can see it's coated here in yarn. There are instructions on the weaving module on Canvas, so there's printed written instructions. But basically, in order to do this, you just take pieces of yarn. I have this red yarn that I've cut into different lengths, usually like 12 inches to 24 inches, approximately. And you dip each strand of yarn into a mixture of Elmer's glue or any white glue with some water. You just want to thin out the glue a little bit. You don't want it to be thick. You don't want it to be thin like milk. You just want it to be a little bit thin so that it's easy to coat the yarn. I just do that in a little bowl, and then cover the actual balloon. Once you blow it up, you'll need a cup, and I can just show you this as an example. Just any kind of cup. If you wanted to use tape, you could. Anything that has a round surface on it that you can stand up your balloon. I used a yogurt container, but you just want something to hold up the balloon while you are covering it with the yarn. Then you're going to have to leave it overnight at least to dry completely. And this is live television, so we'll see how this goes when we cut the balloon. But once this is dry, you can see how hard that yarn is now. Once it's completely dry, just take the top, and I just cut the top off. It just does that. It just peels away from the inside, and you've got this bowl structure. And kind of a funky looking balloon there. So once you've got that bowl structure, now you're ready to weave. And to get started, I like using a chunkier yarn, but it doesn't matter. You can use ribbon. In another video, I showed all of you how to cut fabric into strips. So you could use fabric. So I've got this chunky yarn. If you have plastic needles, some of you crafty people might have plastic needles at home. If you don't, all you do is take the end of your yarn with a little bit of masking tape and just wrap the edge, just so that you have a little bit of a point and it doesn't fray. And then don't have too long of a piece of yarn. Start off smaller than you think you need. It's just going to be less frustrating. And all I do is I start from the center somewhere. You can see this is not like a typical loom that has a lot of structure to it. So you can't really make a mistake, but just start someplace in the middle, and you're going to tie the other end that does not have the masking tape on it. And I'm just going to tie it kind of in the middle somewhere. And just like with the paper weaving and the weaving on the cardboard looms, you're just thinking about that over under pattern. So I've got the yarn tied at the bottom there. Now I'm just going to come up through any opening. And then I'm going to go down over one of the other pieces of yarn. Basically, what you want to kind of do is to create circles. So I've got it underneath there. Maybe I'll come up over here. You can't really make a mistake on this. This is really meant to be free form. And I'll go down here. I'm going to keep turning it. And kind of want to start to make circles. But obviously, because your structure is not in any kind of order, you know, it's not going to be a perfect circle. And I'm just going to keep going over, under, over, under. Whoops. And I'm going to keep making that pattern. And just, I'm basically going to keep going in circles. And you can see in my example here, maybe the bottom, no. You can see in this example, I don't even know where I started, but I basically tried to weave in a circular motion. When you want to change colors, you simply, if this is the end that I'm finished working with and I want to start a new color, you just put the two ends next to each other and just create a knot. And then you can just keep going. And don't worry about these ends. I can trim these off. You can see where I tied these two pieces together. I can trim all of that. Right, you can see it's not a pretty thing on the back of it. This, I don't know what happened here, but we're just going to leave that. I don't want to cut that, so it might unravel. So you can see I just tied those two pieces together and just kept going. I also wove in some of this these wooden strips, and then there's wire on the ends. As you start working with your structure, you might find that it gets very wonky and wobbly. That's what I found. And that's why, as I was working, I ended up putting in the wire along the outside of it, because it was just like kind of wobbling from side to side too much. And I wanted a little bit more sturdiness to it. And that's it. I mean, you can see along the edges, I did this other free form stitch where I just went around, you know, the kind of the edge of the basket. So you can't make a mistake. You're just going over, under as much as you want. A structure like this, just to keep in mind, would probably take several hours to finish. So it's deceptively simple looking, and it is simple, but it is a bit time consuming. So just kind of keep that in mind as you plan. Okay, and thank you for watching.